because the fact that a white girl in the UK could shake up so much discourse in the United States, and it's because she knows that as soon as who is somebody who is considered desirable, is screaming that she's just not black enough and she is the victim, she victimizes herself, she will have many people come to defending her, and a lot of black men coming to defend her and to defend their attraction to somebody like her. What I'm telling you, the bar could never be allowed for white men to do that same thing, because when you look at an image of Logic, do you say that's a strong black man? Do you say that that is a talented black rapper? When you see somebody like Wentworth Miller, do you say that is a strong black man with his blue eyes and pink lips? Huh? When you see Derek Jeter, do you say, wow, look at our beautiful black men with their blushed cheeks and green eyes?
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to? There is nothing I can say.
Hi, welcome to Mayowa's World. Hi y'all, welcome to Mayowa's World. My name is Mayowa, and on my platform I like to talk about colorism, featureism, texturism, and black erasure. This video is going to be talking about black erasure and a streamer called beckyjoo and how she tried to Rachel Dolezal her way into a Call of Duty tournament. So for those who don't know, Rachel Dolezal is a white woman who was pretending to be a black woman for decades, and she was the president of the NAACP chapter in Washington, along with a professor of African American studies, and she was a full-blown white woman. And Rachel Dolezal has managed to have documentaries made about her, articles written about her, and multiple interviews where she is able to explain why she committed fraud. Why she pretended to be a black woman for many years. A lot of celebrities have also had sympathy for her and compassion for her, even though she's actively taking jobs from black women. One of them being Rihanna, who called her a hero. I say all of that to say that there is a history of white women pretending to be black women because of the fact that we do not want to see black women be black women. We would much rather see a blonde hair, blue-eyed white woman saying she is black than to accept that blackness looks the way that it does. And I think this example with Becky is a perfect reason to explain why the one drop rule can be very violent towards black women in this day and time. So Becky is a streamer out of the United Kingdom. She has amassed some following because of her being on a platform called Twitch. She applied to be a part of a Call of Duty tournament that was for black women. And the organizer, Tommy Michelle, she was the organizer of this Black Call of Duty tournament. She saw Becky and she rightfully rejected her for not being a black woman. And because of that, Becky incited so much harm and hatred towards black women. She had to go on Twitter to talk about how sad she was. So this is what her tweet says. "I don't tweet as it is, but never did I think I'd ever have to make a tweet like this. Having to prove if I'm black enough and then being told I'm not black enough to play a tournament that was for black presenting women is insane." After sending family pictures, by the way, what's next? My birth certificate validating this, which states mixed white and black Caribbean on it too, by the way. My whole life I've experienced racism, but I've never experienced it from the black community. I'll tell you that. Being told I had it easy is fucking disgusting, considering what I'm literally experiencing right now. Growing up as a mixed race individual was not easy, always feeling like we didn't fit in. And I think this is proof of that. It's the tragic mulatto. She's trying to pull the tragic mulatto girl. She is trying to say, oh my God, people didn't believe I was black. That's racism. And that's why it's such a funny concept to me, like feeling like you're not black enough. Like you're literally not black enough. Yeah, I'll say you're not. The blackness did not cash out. Like, you know how you can like swipe a card and it doesn't have enough funds? I'm swiping your card, it doesn't have enough blackness on it. Yeah, I don't feel bad saying it. Some people are just you're literally not black enough. You are not black enough to experience racism. Not the kind from anti-blackness, no. You're not black enough to be able to experience misogynoir, no. And I think it's okay. Like, I don't know why there's been such a shift for everyone to try to prove that they're fully black, when a lot of people aren't fully black. In 2011, they had usernames that was like Mixed Girl 44, good hair 2022. Like, that was a lived reality. So the switch is just very strange, but I guess it's obviously because of funding within blackness, because of more people wanting to be able to have access to the resources within blackness. Like that, as simple. They want to be able to have access to feeling like a victim, because somehow they end up being victimhoods of that within Blackness. And then she had the audacity to post her hair and say, like, this is my natural hair. Baby, a curl is even generous. And then she wrote in response to people making fun of her bone straight hair. She goes, you're so weird, brother. How does that take away from the fact that I'm half Black? I straighten my hair every single day. Everyone knows me, knows my hair is naturally curly, literally unbrushable. Unbrushable? Unbrushable? But let them tell it, that's a 4C hair queen, baby. Let them tell it, she is a kinky, coily girl. LMFAO, me and my white father chilling. And she posted a photo of her in it with no light, backlit, to try and look darker. And people need, I should make a video about this one day, like into whole. But this whole posting yourself backlit to look darker, I am so tired of it. This is, if you watched my last YouTube video talking about Amanda's response to colorism, she was also using very low lighting. I see you. I know what you're doing. I remember when Will Smith was playing Serena Williams' dad in a biopic, and they consistently backlit him the entire time. I know what you're doing, and it's not working. You just look backlit. I know you're thinking, maybe if I turn off all the lights, I look like them. But it actually came out that, in fact, she was not a Black woman at all. In fact, she was she's actually just half Indian. And people were still trying to be considerate to her, saying, although you are Black, you are a white presenting woman. That's not Black. Like, the whole point of being Black is that there is a life that you live because people are looking at you and seeing you a certain way and discriminating against you. Like, it shouldn't be that complicated. And just to come out that her father looks like this. And people are saying, well, he's Caribbean, so since he's Caribbean, he must be Black. I wish the world would understand that colonialism didn't just only steal Black people from the continent. It also left the continent with loads of people who are not Black. Right? Like, there are so many people who are not Black in Africa. So somebody saying, well, I'm African, I should be Black. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Oh, well, I'm Jamaican, I should be Black. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I've been to Jamaica. I went into a beauty supply store and experienced the same following around the store discrimination that I would if I was in Atlanta, Georgia, going into a hair store and everybody who's working there isn't Black. And that's happening in a land where majority of people are Black. There are still non-Black people who own a lot of establishments in Jamaica and can be very oppressive to the actual Black Jamaican people. Same in Nigeria. Like, the same thing happens with, there are people who are not Black in Nigeria. Plenty. They'll have the accents and everything. But guess what? They'll always marry their own. They're like 7 generations there, and they're consistently only going to marry each other because they don't want to be Black. They want to have access to Blackness. They don't want to be Black. They want to have Black money. They don't want to be Black. So it's just, the whole thing is just really upsetting because I don't think people can really understand that there is money. There's resources to be had in pretending to be Black. There's resources to be had in getting money from Black people without being Black. And people to this day are still defending her. People to this day are still saying, well, she's mixed and, calling her white passing. That is a white woman. I don't care that she's mixed. And also, I don't care what your parents look like. Her dad could literally be Wesley Snipes. And I would still say, baby, you look the way you look. Like, that's the same thing with Michael Jackson's daughter trying to say, well, my dad's Michael Jackson. Okay. And you look how you look. So what now? But ultimately, you cannot trick me.
You cannot trick me. You cannot trick me.
So the tournament, I think, also had a $300 cash prize, which was why I'm assuming that Becky was fighting for her life to say that she is a Black woman. And what I thought was interesting about this whole thing was the kind of journalism that picked this up. So The Independent picked this up, and so did Yahoo News UK. The reason I say that this is interesting why journalists pick this up is because they find it worthy to cover a white woman who is upset that she was not considered Black enough. So Becky, at this time, before it was revealed that she is in fact not Black whatsoever, she was saying that she is mixed race. And the article does not actually use any images of Becky. It just speaks about a mixed race woman not being Black enough to be able to apply for this tournament. And the comments under the newspaper article were siding with Becky, saying that it's so unfair that people would be discriminatory towards someone who is mixed race and not calling them black enough. And the reason that people have so much sympathy for white women pretending to be black, or white women in general, is actually because of a trope called the tragic mulatto. So the tragic mulatto is a fictional type of character that appeared in the American literature during the 19th and 20th century. The tragic mulatto is a stereotypically mixed race person who is depressed because they fail to completely fit in with the white world or the black world. As such, the tragic mulatto is depicted as the victim of a society that is divided by race, where there is no place for someone who is neither black nor white. The reason that the tragic mulatto became a popular style of a popular movie genre was because that was the only way that white people could feel sympathy for black people, is if they believed that a black person could be white or white passing. So white passing is really specific to African American culture, particularly around slavery and the residuals of slavery of people who were forcibly essayed, right? There were so many movies that would have women who look white and they would find out that, oh my God, they actually have a mixed parent. And because of that, they would often use these films to garnish sympathy for people to be like, wow, maybe it is wrong for us to discriminate against black people. So that genre, the tragic mulatto genre, is still very present with how we exist today. There are still so many people who quickly to give sympathy towards white women or people who are lighter or whiter, whatever, like that is the foundation. So her crying to these newspapers and them fixating on her perspective, instead of fixating on the perspective of how this Tommy person felt. Yeah, so them fixating on how she, the white woman, felt, instead of fixating on how Tommy, Michelle, would feel that she has a white woman pretending to be black. And the fact that it is more news for when a white person is upset about not being black enough than a black person who's constantly experiencing erasure of black womanhood, that just shows you that the media will always be on the side of the whitest person or the white person. Because why is it news when somebody isn't black enough? But it isn't news when there is another movie story where they actively erase black women from the storyline. And it's because their voices are centered. The whiter you are, the more people want to actually hear you and believe you and respect you. But what was shocking about this whole thing with Becky is that when Becky said that she was black, I saw videos of people coming to defend her in droves. I saw a black man make a 7-minute video explaining why she is black, and it is important for us to not take away the blackness of Becky. Mind you, her name is Becky. What I find funniest about this whole thing is that Becky is from the United Kingdom, and in the UK, they do not have the one drop rule whatsoever. Like, that is not even something that is relative to the history of the UK. So in England, even if by this logic, let's say we're believing her lie and she has a mixed race father who's half black, or she has a black father, in the UK, she still wouldn't be considered black, right? She would still be considered white because one drop rule doesn't exist in the UK. So even with that being said, I wanted to be able to apply for a tournament in the US because she was feeling like in the US she should be considered black. And I just think that shows the level of manipulation that people are aware that the black community is very susceptible to. Because the fact that a white girl in the UK could shake up so much discourse in the United States is so wild to me. And it's because she knows that as soon as she is somebody who is considered desirable by a white supremacist concept, is screaming that she's just not black enough and she is the victim, she victimizes herself, she will have many people come to defending her, and a lot of black men coming to defend her and to defend their attraction to somebody like her. Because the comments started to get very wild. There was so much misogynoir of people attacking black women and saying, well, it's not her fault that she looks pretty. Who brought up being pretty? And that's the issue, is that people literally associate black with ugly. And they don't realize that. They associate black womanhood with ugly. So the fact that they're like, well, it's not her fault that she looks like she looks good and she has blonde hair and blue. It's not her fault. Some of the comments I saw is your dad black? So what makes you different? Her dad scored a white woman and yours settled for giving birth to an idiot. Another one said, y'all are mad because she doesn't look like a gorilla. I'd be mad too if somebody shared my race but looked nothing like my typical features, especially when my features are the least desired. I would say to myself, what life is so unfair. She's black, stay mad. And there were other comments just kind of saying that she is black and it's not her fault that she looks beautiful, which shouldn't be a conversation about race. And I always say this, you can tell who's black by who people come to rally behind. People do not come to rally behind a black woman, hence why there was newspaper articles written about her not being black enough, because people do not find it lucrative to rally behind an actual black person. If you're black, you're most likely going to also be experiencing hardship from other black people. That is a sign of knowing if you're black. Not if you can say you're not black enough and get 2 newspaper articles written about it and get so much sympathy online from people who are trying to squint their eyes to see themselves as black. And also, I just want to remind people that this is a form of gaslighting. It's a form of manipulation, and it's a form of fraud to me, because you are trying to gaslight your own reality. You're trying to gaslight people into believing that you can be black when black is phenotypical. And people are saying it's so unfair that you guys are discriminating against her simply because of her skin color. Babes, that's the foundation of racism, right? That's exactly what black women are feeling. So I would think that the reason that the Twitch streamer, Michelle, the black woman who created a group for black women, I would think the reason that she would create it is because of the fact that she's discriminated for her skin color. But you guys want to be able to have white women be the image of blackness, and that is what's upsetting. And you know what really gags me is this is specifically something that happens within misogyny. There have been so many white women who are pretending to be black since for the longest time. But what I'm telling you, the bar could never be allowed for white men to do that same thing. Because when you look at an image of Logic, do you say that's a strong black man? Do you say that that is a talented black rapper? When you see somebody like Wentworth Miller, do you say that is a strong black man with his blue eyes and pink lips? When you see Derek Jeter, do you say, wow, look at our beautiful black men with their blushed cheeks and green eyes? Right? Do y'all say The Rock? I love a black man who doesn't have hair on his head. Yes. Pete Wentz, black men in rock. Yes. Pete is such a black man, and that is why it's so important for us to support black men in rock music, because it is hard for them. No, because these people do not pretend to be black. They know that they are fully existing in their white male privilege. They don't have any issue to want to say, hey guys, wait, my mom is black or my dad is black, because they're fully in their white man privilege. Cole Palmer, another person who allegedly is mixed race. So all these people I named are all mixed race people who present as fully white. And you don't see them talking about being black men because they don't need to talk about black men. They're existing in white privilege. Globally understood that people do not want black women to be the face of black womanhood. They want to have people who are fully white and able to get space for so long. I think the reason that Rachel Dolezal was able to get clocked for her being white in that interview was because it was a white man asking her if you are black.
Yeah, that sounds like. Is that your dad?
Yeah, that's my dad.
This man right here is your father? Right there?
You have a question about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was wondering if your dad really is an African-American man.
That's I don't know what you're implying.
Are you African-American?
I don't understand the question.
I think if a black woman was interviewing her and asked her if she was black, I think she would be harsher. I think she'd be nastier. I think she would attack more. I forgot which woman there was, but there was a professor who was pretending to be black for decades as well. And I heard that there was another professor at the same university who tried to say, you are not black. And they fired the black woman and attacked the black woman for even speaking up about the fact that this woman isn't black. So it's really just shows you who has power, who has privilege. If you have the power to wield black men against black women, you are probably not black, right? Or you are someone who is existing with so much privilege in the black community that you can actually wield people to attack people for you. You don't even have to say anything. You know that they will actually just self-destruct on their own. And people intentionally like to make it complicated. I think people like race should not actually be that complicated, which is a lot of times like children can kind of see things very quickly because they're like, oh, this is black, this is not black. This person looks like me, this person doesn't look like me. Like, it's not complicated, but people want it to be complicated because people want to be able to find ways to have white people be the representative of blackness. But you know what? I will accept Rachel Dolezal as black and beckyjoo as black when we accept Wentworth Miller as black and Logic. If we can make a movie about blackness and we have Wentworth Miller, Logic, Pete Wentz, The Rock, something Jeter. Yeah, when we have that as a cast, let me know. But until then, the continuation of trying to raise black women is so tired. And I hope more Black women can see that, because constantly wanting white people to be a representation of you is a form of low racial self-worth. You do not think, your view of Blackness is so poor or so bad that you think a white person being Black is going to make it better. Like, I don't know, babe, like that's serious. Like, colonialism really did a number on us. We is just doing it for ourselves at this point. My God. So yeah, let me know what y'all think. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.